friends. Hey, it is your friend, Damian Howard here, your premier social and emotional learning coach with another professional development focused on social and emotional learning. When you join this space, the SEL Plus group, Social and Emotional Learning Plus, what is that plus? That plus says that we're creating and curating spaces whereby when we share life with each other, we are impacted in a positive way that affords us through empowerment and inspiration. That's what this professional development is all about. Through empowerment and inspiration, it affords us an opportunity to trek towards living our best lives. I'm so grateful for all of the research and all of the studies that are already out there proving that this work that we commit to, this work that has you showing up on a Tuesday night and watching me for a few minutes here, has already proven to bring impact to schools, to classrooms, to communities outside of the school, even to home environments. So with that, let's go ahead and plunge into our session content for this evening. Hey, I just want to remind you, if you're watching this, we consider you a champion. You are somebody, for whatever reason, has decided and fixated in your mind. You have a resolve. Maybe this was part of your 2022 resolutions that you set for yourself, that I want to be a local leader, that I want to lean in and learn of different strategies and be a part of certain conversations. And hear this part, even curate spaces whereby participants, the people who join, the people who are a part of the village, are able to grow. Listen here, you see it on the bottom of my screen. Champions lead, heal, and win together. Let's get into it. The theme for the month of January is conflict resolution. And we wanted to offer a reminder that when we talk about and think about conflicts, that there is a distinction and a unique difference between minor conflicts and major conflicts. You know, minor conflicts are generally easier to resolve, don't cause long-term physical or emotional harm, whereby major conflicts, these are harder to resolve. They have serious consequences and cause physical or emotional harm. The beautiful dynamic of us calling out that distinction at the top of this conversation affords all of us an opportunity to say, hey, if I am in the midst of a conflict, a disagreement, if there's a misunderstanding, before this thing boils over to become a major conflict, let's embrace strategies and let's impute the type of approach that affords us an opportunity to address this thing before it becomes major and potentially has physical consequences that will sustain beyond the conflict. There's some conflict resolution distinctions and distinctives, that we want to talk about today. Some common reasons that conflicts can escalate, because again, we proactively want to be able to take this conversation, the language and the knowledge from this conversation, and resolve, even subconsciously, that I want to be able to intervene in a positive way where I see conflict arising in my own life, that affords those conflicts to be dealt with and addressed before they escalate in a negative way. So here are some reasons that conflicts escalate. Making assumptions, automatically thinking someone has negative intentions, not managing your emotions, losing your cool and not being able to calm down, jumping to conclusions, not having enough information about a situation, but making a decision about it anyway, involving others. When you involve other people, they can sometimes say or do things that make the conflict worse. And I just wonder how many of us, under the sound of my voice tonight, have found ourselves in escalated conflicts. And retrospectively, I hope that we're growing and learning to be people who actually look back and reflect upon things that are happening in our lives and ask ourselves, why do we think that happened? And what is it we can do in the future to get a better result? So as you think about even maybe a conflict that you had today, maybe a conflict that you've had before you are watching this professional development. Maybe where there's some assumptions that were made without being grounded in evidence. Were you managing your emotions appropriately? Did you jump to conclusions, and or did we involve others that in certain instances made the conflict worse? Just some different things that we can now start to be intentional to look through, or to think about, to think through, and potentially anticipate, so that we can make sure, right, we're doing our best to not be involved in conflicts that are consistently escalating and getting out of hand. All right. So when we talk about conflict resolution, we just want to unpack a little bit more this assuming negative intentions, right? And we had a little scenario right here. So last week, and we love using scenarios because it's like almost like this is a mini narrative or a mini story. It allows us to even sometimes put ourselves within the scenario and reflect upon, man, how would I have responded, and or how did I respond when I was in a similar situation? So Mila, she didn't log on, and her partner, her confidant, was expecting her to log on. So she texts Dante to say that she was busy, though she did the same thing this week and she didn't text. And he's like, I'm used to her texting, right? Usually she'll text when she's busy. So Dante waited online for her for 15 minutes. And he's just like, he got to this point to say, man, she must be blowing me off. She doesn't want to lead this painting project and doesn't have the courage to tell me. So he sends Mila an angry text message. You understand, with all of these expletives and these other emojis, telling her off, calling her all type of names, telling her mama ain't nothing, her daddy ain't nothing. I mean, Dante just went off. Hey, have there been times where we have assumed negative intentions and that led us to a place of going off? It led us to a place of erupting. And I'm not even going to sit up here and act like some of those times your hunch might have been correct. And in certain instances, you may think that you have enough data about a person to know that they didn't text me because they don't care. But guess what? That's not always the case. You never know what somebody might be going through physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, right? So let's try to grow that muscle that says, before I assume negative intent, let me take an opportunity to actually reach out and see what might be going on with somebody, especially during this time of us dealing with the pandemic, us trekking through COVID, school starting, school stopping, virtual, no classroom, and all of the inconsistencies that we're facing in our world today. We need to grow the ability to care and be empathetic enough to stop assuming negative intent all the time. Actually try to assume positive intent, and when something doesn't happen according to plan, to actually reach out and see what's up, versus thinking that that person is trying to do something against me or against my intentions. So here's some strategies. We always love to give you some things that you can leave this space with to actually bring social and emotional learning to life. So one of the things that we can just really start to do is to reframe, to reword unhelpful thoughts. That before these things start to project out of our mouths that might cause friction and have conflicts to grow to a higher level, can we start to reframe thoughts that are not helpful? Yeah, I don't know what's going on with her. Maybe she might be busy right now. See, before you would have immediately gone to a place to assume to assume that she's blowing you off. Hey, this is the first time actually she hasn't texted. Man, this isn't even really as big of a deal as I'm trying to make it. I know she wants to lead this painting project with me. Therefore, I'm going to trust that when we talk, we're going to resolve this situation. Do you see how we changed that thing around by changing the language that we were exuding, the language that we were using as it pertained to this reality? And how just changing and shifting that language shifts emotional state, shifts mental state, and allows me now to connect with this person in a way whereby it is less escalated and we can actually work through finding a resolve together. Hey, here's another strategy. And this is one that we constantly raise up. And it's so important that we have to keep reminding our population, keep reminding our champions of this strategy, positive self-talk. And she's been my coworker for a very long time. Let me celebrate that in my own mind and in my own spirit. We collaborate well on projects. We've been really committed to improving our communication and collaboration. And I am not going to let this one situation get in the way of our future success. Let's work on bringing social and emotional learning to life by working on reframing unhelpful thoughts, particularly before those thoughts turn into hurtful words. We know oftentimes that hurt people, and that doesn't always happen because we're trying to hurt somebody, but it's because we're not practicing these SEL strategies that afford us an opportunity once more to relate better and relate well consistently with each other. And then also this positive self-talk is one that I embrace and lean into quite often just to get my psyche and my mental state in a place whereby I am ready to serve the people that I've been called and tasked to serve. All right, we just want to remind you all of some things on our way out today, that every Tuesday at 6 p.m. there's something going on in this space. Outside of the fifth Tuesdays, that's when we take a break and we make sure that we are prepared for the next Tuesday when there are fifth Tuesdays. The second week of every month, instead of going live, we're actually doing coaching. And you all see what days of the week on the second Tuesday of the month that we're having, the second week of the month on Tuesdays, parent coaching, Wednesdays, school champions coaching, and then on Thursdays, our neighborhood champions program. On fourth Tuesdays, of course, we have our monthly webinar, and that's going to come up next week. I am excited very soon, within the coming days, to give you all an announcement in our Champions Village Facebook group. If for whatever reason you're finding this and you're not a part of that group, join the group so that you can get more helpful professional development just like this to support yourself and to support your community. All right, some more reminders is that we want to embrace and invite all of you all to become champions, to help us to connect to your parents and your educators, and specifically for our school leaders that are sitting on Title I funds or ESSA funds or other federal funds that you need to spend before the school year is out. Hey, this type of work that we're doing here, we do it in these intimate coaching sessions. We're doing it with teachers, with parents, and also community-based mentors to support the climate and culture of your school. Simply type the word champions wherever you're seeing this, and we will make sure we get that message and reach out to you to support your environment. And with that, you all, ladies and gentlemen, we are done for today. I am always so very thankful for those of you all who watch this live and or via playback. We know that these professional development nuggets that we're offering here every week are extremely helpful, have the ability to make massive impact. So go ahead, dive in and apply these tools in your own life, and make sure that you're going to our Facebook page now, Social and Emotional Learning Plus, rebranding that's going on right there, and let us know how this work is helping you at any particular time. Remember, type that word champions somewhere within the page, and that's a trigger for us to know that we need to connect in Messenger and talk more about how we can support you through our more robust virtual training platform and program. And with that, friends, peace out. Talk to y'all soon.